I got it. I don't know why I couldn't do it.
There we
Great.
go.
We're good. We're
Well,
good. We got
welcome
it.
everybody. Thank you for joining us for our webinar today. We hope we have a good, fruitful event today from 12 to 1. We'll get you off as close to 1 as possible. My name's Amanda Zeidler. I'm currently serving as the president of the Minnesota FFA Alumni and Supporters. We'll do some quick introductions. And if you can tell us why you're here, who you are, what chapter you support, and why you're here today. We've got some from both sides, some who are going to be sharing their stories, those of you who are here to listen and glean some information from them. So we hope that, again, we can accomplish that from both sides and we can all learn together. So, Sue, do you want to start with your introduction?
Sure. I'm Sue Schatz, President-elect of the Minnesota FFA Alumni and Supporters. I'm here to learn with all of you. I know you guys do amazing things out there, and as Amanda said, I'm just glean some information from all of the things that you guys are doing. Thank you.
Natasha?
Hello. Thanks for joining us. My name is Natasha Mortensen. I'm the executive director of the Minnesota Alumni and Supporters, and then I also work on the FFA side as the career development coordinator.
Heidi?
My name is Heidi Gessler. I own HG Accounting. I support our Tri-City United FFA and community. I also do nonprofit tax returns for various nonprofits and help with anything that needs.
Thank you. Elena?
Hi, I'm Elena Mosel. I'm here just to learn and glean and get ideas. I support technically two FFA alumni groups. One is Grand Rapids alumni and also part of the board for Northern Lights Community School, which just came on board. So wearing two hats today.
Nice. Thank you. Tanner?
Tanner Peash. I represent the Stevens County FFA alumni, so the Morris and Hancock chapters. Yeah, just here to, Natasha asked me, of course, to share our story anyway. So just here to share with you guys today.
Wonderful. Shannon?
Hi, I'm Shannon Visser. I got this wonderful text from Amanda to join this Lunch and Learn, and I am the treasurer to the Hutchinson FFA chapter. We're fairly new, just started about 2 years ago, so excited to learn.
Thank you. Angela? Oh. You on your phone too?
Hard to get off mute sometimes on the phones.
Nope, you're still muted.
We can come back.
Yep. Pete, do you want to start?
I'm Pete Iden, and I'm associated with the Monticello FFA. And as Hutchinson, we're rather new, so there's always things to learn.
Okay. Katie?
Good morning. I'm Katie Brenny, live down in Southeast Minnesota. I am an alumni and an alumni member of Sembroda Mazeppa and just here to learn.
Wonderful. Angela, you good to go?
There we go.
There you go.
Angela Hennon. We just started the Minnewaska FFA alumni chapter in Glenwood, so just here to learn. And
Wonderful.
I'm serving as the president right now.
Okay. Did I miss anybody? I think I got everybody.
Lori
Thank you.
Yurchek.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead, Lori.
Hi, I'm Lori Yurchek. I am here representing the Holdingford FFA alumni and supporters. I have been their treasurer for 12 years, and we've been in existence for 15 years as the alumni and supporters. So I'm here to try and contribute something about how to fundraise and keep your chapter going.
Wonderful. Well, thank you all again for being here. Tanner, what we're going to do first is those of you who are here to share your stories, if you guys could just kind of give a real quick overview of like your best fundraiser, just a little bit about what you do, what it's about, and then we can go from there. We'll kind of hit on high points then of each kind of fundraiser that you guys can speak to, and then we can have some questions and discussion at the end. So Tanner, do you want to start with you?
Yes, yeah, I can do that. I would say we don't have like multiple throughout the year. The one big one that we do is kind of for our annual banquet, our chapter banquet. Um, and so what that consists of is kind of a few different pieces that go into it. We're kind of obviously collecting membership at this time. We also do what we call is our work auction. And so what our work auction consists of, do you want me to go into detail of what the work auction is?
Yeah, if you can, if you can do
Yeah,
an
so
overview of that.
essentially what we do is we have most of the kids, we encourage most of the kids between each chapter to sign up for the work auction. What the work auction entails is that they um, volunteer their hours that so they select if maybe it's 4, 6, 8 hours, whatever it may be. But then what we do with those hours is we end up auctioning them off at our annual meeting. So we encourage members, alumni, businesses to come and support and potentially bid on those individuals and the hours that they are auctioning off. So each of them kind of have, I would say, specialties that they kind of are looking for anyways. Maybe it's stuff on the farm, babysitting, yard work, whatever it may be anyways. So it's kind of a wide range of what they're looking to do. So at our meeting or annual meeting, we auction the kids off based on the hours. So that is probably our biggest success in regards to dollars and contributions that we get from everybody that is in attendance. And then in addition to that, we also have excuse me, oh geez,
Right on auction.
an online auction with this as well. So we partner with one of our local auction companies, Zielsdorf Auctions out of Benson. We work with them in regards to we get donations from local businesses that typically are putting together baskets, goodies. There's people in the community that do. It's a pretty popular one. Is that it's like a 12 person meal that consists of a 3 or 4 course meal or whatever it may be, and so that's usually a pretty big hit. Kids in shop class will build different things anyways. So those get auctioned off. Baked goods are a pretty hot topic anyways. That go pretty well throughout that. And so it's kind of fun. We have it open for about, I believe, 2 weeks. Everything wraps up. We have items at the auction or at the annual meeting that they can collect and so forth to try and encourage those people that did that to come to the meeting, whatever it may be. So there's kind of three things that are all kind of going on at once, anyways, but it's a really good success anyway. So,
Tanner, can you talk about the safety measures that you guys have in place just to make sure like who communicates with who, and then just like who can bid and that you know everybody and what you do if you don't know people that show up there?
yep. So I would say most of the advisors kind of have, I would say are the ones that are I would say up front, anyways, as far as the people that are bidding. I mean, most of the people we know, they're either past alumni members. If we get somebody that's probably off the street, we're probably going to be in of question why they're showing up or what they're doing. But most of the people that we know are past alumni supporters, and so we really don't have too much of a concern with it that way. I would say that we kind of leave it up to after the fact of when we have the work auction, we kind of leave it up to we usually we have checkout at the end of the night anyways. And we usually give them a slip with the phone numbers to contact the students to kind of set up the times that work best for those businesses, producers, supporters, whatever it may be anyway. So those would be kind of the safety measures that we have in place.
Thank you. Shannon, do you want to talk a little bit about your community event and how you utilize that and how you connect with some of your sponsors and people throughout your area?
Yeah, so about 3 years ago, we had some FFA students that wanted to reach out to the community and basically show Hutchinson who they were. So the kids came up with the idea that we were going to do a Saturday. It's about 4 hours, and they bring in baby animals, we bring in machinery, so the kids are able to connect with a few of the implement dealers around the area. We bring in like a little hands on the farm, so they get to go through, make a pot of plant, play in a little bit of a corn bin. Last year we brought in someone had a whole bunch of outside trucks and tractors and brought that in. We do a pedal pull, which really draws in people. The alumni side of it, we last year we served the meal, which was something new. I think I told everyone after 3 years of doing this, I think we've got this down and we're just going to rinse and repeat this year. On top of that, the alumni put on a big raffle. So we go around to businesses, the alumni and the kids, but really us alumni took on the responsibility of connecting with those business owners. And we got some amazing raffle tickets. I mean, we're talking, we had like fire rings and a dumpster. I thought that was really cool. The person that won it was so excited. Just other little gifts, and we do the raffle. Yeah, so we're going into our fourth year this year, doing that and just trying to make it bigger and better. And our big thing is to show Hutchinson who the FFA is. And I have to say, my proudest moment is watching our superintendent, our activities director, our principal walk through that event, and they are absolutely blown away at what these kids can do and what they've accomplished.
Nice. Thank you for sharing. I see Pat has joined us from Barnesville. I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit, wondering if you can introduce yourself, talk a little bit about what you guys do for fundraiser and how you connect with the community. Pat, are you there? Otherwise, we can come back. Okay, so we're just going to talk about a couple of things. Lori, I don't know if you want to talk too just a little bit about how you connect with the community in Holdingford, because I know you guys have a lot of stuff going on too. Do you want to say a couple of things quick?
Sure. Our alumni has put on a tractor raffle as our fundraiser, our constant and main fundraiser for 15 years. The tractors that we raffle are donated by our community members. We don't pay for them. They're older tractors, more vintage type, but then our FFA members and large and small engines, students restore them from complete tear down to bringing them back to beauty and, of course, workability. And so those are raffled off each year. And we connect with the community as much as we can by displaying them at our home football games, displaying them at the Pioneer Days. That's in a neighboring town in Albany, Minnesota. And we display them as many places as we can on social media so that the community knows. And we let the community know that we're raising this money for our mission. And our mission, of course, is to support the tractor and ag education in the school. And so we get a very good turnout. We only sell 1,000 tickets, and we sell them for only $10 a piece. We generally try to raise $9,000 per year. And that usually takes care of our funding of our scholarships to our seniors that are going on to post-education that have participated in FFA. It also takes care of some CDE and LDE miscellaneous supplies needed, and it also helps with the restoration for the next tractors in the upcoming future years. We've done that, and we've gotten very good at that as far as making sure we get all of those tickets sold and very good community input. So that's our main one, but we were called upon recently. Some of you may have seen some of our Facebook posts about building a new greenhouse. And I think partly because we had a constant and, a continual tractor raffle, the people knew what we were doing out there as an alumni and supporters group. And so we were able to then do a bunch of fundraising for our new greenhouse, and we're able to raise $125,000 actual money, and then another about $30,000 of in-kind contributions to put up our brand new state-of-the-art greenhouse and storage, our head house. So I think our tractor raffle is what helped be so impactful, that our community was so supportive and enabled us to be able to do that. But that also, having the tractor raffle kept us in the know on how to do our reporting and our acknowledgement letters and all those different things that come with a large fundraiser.
Okay, great. Thanks for sharing that. Pat, I saw you were unmuting before. Is this a good time?
Can you hear me now?
We can.
Sorry.
That's okay.
It's been a busy day. Wheat harvest has started, so.
Oh, well, we appreciate you taking time out of your day for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if
So
you want to,
our event I can touch on. Honestly, we attended an event in Kindred, North Dakota, very similar. So we kind of stole their best practices. They were super helpful in getting us going. So we have a Forever Blue is what we call the event, Forever Blue auction and gala. When we started it, um, we decided to sell 200 tickets. We have a local farm that donates the use of their shop for a few days. So we get set up in there. We do a prime rib dinner. Try to do it up pretty good sides, good dessert table, kind of, fancy cheesecake type stuff on there. We charge $50 a ticket. We've sold out every year since we started it. We've been through 3 years now. We set up tables and chairs. We involved the FFA students some in the setup of getting this shop cleaned up and ready to, presentable to the public. We do a live auction of about 15 to 20 items that we solicit donations for. Some of the ideas have been like gun safes. One that's a real hit is we have a dealership that donates like 50 feet of chisel plow spikes or teeth.
Mhm.
Most farms need that stuff anyway. So everybody's pretty eager to bid on things like that. We do a ride in a cop car and a ride on a fire truck. Those sell really well, live auction. We have some fishing trips. It's varied over the years. And then we solicit a lot of silent auction items. So we generally run in that 100 to 150 silent auction items. Some of that's grouped together because we probably end up with over 200 donations. So we put some things together there. We have a former FFA student that is an auctioneer that does the auctioneering for us, which I think is wonderful. And he knows people, he can get some banter going, things like that. When we started it, we put on the invitations that it was a kind of a semi-formal engagement. I guess that was kind of more to set the tone of the event than anything else. We have the FFA students serve the meal to the guests. They do an opening ceremony to get it kicked off. Have a couple FFA members speak about the impact FFA has had on them. Try to keep all that to about 15 minutes in the beginning, so we don't lose excitement, etc. And we We have the Knights of Columbus. They have the alcohol sales license. We have them serve alcohol event. We let them keep all the funds from the alcohol sales as they give back to the community as well. Also, it takes, I guess, in our minds, some of the liability of the alcohol sales off of our event. We, in our insurance policy, we added large events that include alcohol to our insurance policy, just to kind of protect ourselves as well. And then we kind of, once the meal is done and the FFA students have kind of collected the plates, etc., we kind of send them off away from the event since there's alcohol served there. Every year, it's varied a little bit up and down, but it generally generates between $40,000 and $50,000 in the one night.
Wow.
So it's been a great event for us. We love it because it takes some planning and some work ahead of it, but most of our fundraising is all done in one night.
That's a great success story. Okay, thank you for sharing that. We are going to talk a little bit about some of the high points of fundraising and community involvement and engagement, and then how you create those success stories for your FFA members and how you keep them involved as future alumni as well. So you don't all have to answer this, those of you who shared some of your stories and what you guys are doing in your area, but if a couple of you could jump on for each topic, that would be great. I want to touch on the steps for setup and best practices. Would a couple of you be willing to talk about, like, how did you get your start? What's the best way to start looking at events or engaging the community? What are some best practices that we can share with some of the others who are maybe just getting into this?
I guess I'll go. Our biggest thing was that the students were the ones that really pushed to have a community involvement. I think honestly, what we are struggling with and as an alumni is we're we're bringing in enough money from the sales of the tickets, with the raffle tickets to put on the event, but we're not going above and beyond that very much to help the students out with state convention or national convention. So I guess that's something that we as an alumni need to decide, is that how can we make this a little bit more of a fundraiser? It's, to me, it's kind of a slash community involvement, outreach and a fundraiser at the same time.
A good point. Anybody else want to talk? Tanner?
Yeah, I can comment a little bit too, and I would say like just the students being involved with the overall project. We have we kind of segment out the responsibilities and duties of being able to get everything done. But as far as like for us, when it comes to the work auction piece, we're what we really are emphasizing on is like getting kids back to our community and emphasizing like the importance and showing them the opportunities that there's, you don't have to go to, the Twin Cities, or you don't have to, go to a bigger city or whatever. There's plenty of opportunities back home. And so, whether that's they get on the farm and do that, or they get to go to a local business and show, they get to showcase what they have to offer, just engaging kids' interest. So as far as like that, that's really the objective that we're kind of after, what we've emphasized on. But this, as far as like the setup, we kind of segment out the duties. We have the kids go around to local businesses, get them out and about too, to, ask for donations. So that's a big thing. I think that's important that it's kind of a shared responsibility when it comes to everything. It's not just the alumni that's putting it on. It's both the chapters, them working together, which is always kind of fun to see because they're in two different school districts. So that's been nice too.
Anybody else want to share on that at all? Okay, we'll move on to talk about what kinds of things have you learned from either mistakes or just things you just didn't know until you were there, hindsight being 2020. How did you turn that around to make it a success, or what did you do to change that? So what are some things that you guys have learned from your events?
I can add there. One thing that we just used to do we just used to have the work auction, and then COVID happened. We kind of were able to make a little spin off of that, and that's where we started to add the online auction piece of it, anyways. So that was one thing that we maybe adapted or changed to, anyways. So and that's been a nice success that way. So I think we just from the online auction alone, we're able to generate probably I want to say it was like 8 grand this year. Um, the work auction that we were able to do is I think it was about 17 we did this year, and then our membership dues anyway. So, and what we do there for membership dues, this is $52 for the year, $1 a week. I don't know if Natasha can credit herself by saying she started that anyways, but we've kind of kept our fees that I've been on the board for 8 years and it's been that way. So
Anybody else, things you have learned that you can share? People don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Can I ask Tanner a question?
Mhm.
Is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
So just for clarification, I really like your idea of the auctions and stuff. And that's like, so it's all one event, kind of different things happening. So then
yep.
you can promote it to the community.
Yep, correct. So it's like our annual meeting. So we serve a meal. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier or not, but we have, kind of do a rotation between working with our Cattlemen's Association, and then there's a local individual who does kind of has a pork catering, or I would just say a catering business anyways. So we usually flip flop between those each year as far as food. We run that online auction 2 weeks before we have our annual meeting. So then, like I said, people can pick up the stuff at the event, and then students are at the annual meeting along with parents, businesses, supporters. So it's kind of fun to pack everybody. Like for an example, we were in the Hancock School or Hancock Gym this year, and it was pretty well attended event anyways. So it's just fun to be able to have everybody in one space, and so everything kind of happens at one time. Yes.
Thanks.
Anybody else want to talk about anything that they've learned that they'd like to share?
Yeah, I guess for us, we've learned that, we started last year in September. The advisors brought in the students and the parents to talk about the year in general for FFA, but us alumni were there as well. And we started sparking the conversation about Community Ag Day and what it is, and got the excitement going. So I think come January, February, when we were looking for volunteers, we really had parents step up and wanted to help the day of. The few days before to help be a part of it and be a part of the success. So that was a huge benefit.
That's a great point.
I would love to make a comment. This is Lori.
Yes. Yep.
I think we definitely learned, even though we had our tractor raffle for many years, but we definitely learned as time went on that you must keep your organization and what you're doing and what you're doing it for in the know. And so we started making sure that we could get it into our school newsletter every quarter, something about the FFA, that we could get information out when we were giving out our scholarships, for example, any type of presentation time. And that really helped to just keep the community aware and always wanting to say that they're doing great things. We want to support that FFA. The other thing is, though, the book work along with the fundraisers. When you're only doing a tractor raffle and it's not very huge, you don't have all the Secretary of State in guidelines that you have to focus on, but as you do larger ones, of course you do, and the tax returns change as you do larger ones. The acknowledgments that you have to send out to your people who donated more than $250, just making sure all of that stuff is done so that you keep your nonprofit status and you keep yourself in good standing with your community, not just with the guidelines of the IRS or the Secretary of State, but with the community, because then the school sees that you're doing all those right things and they're very supportive of you. They, of course, never want to be caught in the middle of something happening to a really good organization like the Alumni and Supporters, but if you're not doing all the details, things could go awry and people could become, I'll say, suspicious or questioning what are you doing with your funds and are you doing everything right? So I think we learned that we really need to find a person that can focus on that as well as raising funds. Funds are good to have, but you got to do the right details, and then you have to spend them properly, and you have to let people know how you spent them, and then of course thank those donors as much as you can on social media and other kinds of media.
That's an amazing segue. Thank you, Lori, for touching on those things. We're going to have Heidi talk in a little bit about just kind of touch on some high points about like your financials as it relates to having bigger events, keeping track of things throughout the year so it's not a scramble when it comes time to file. But before we move on to that, kind of along the lines of what Lori was talking about, what are some high point things that you recommend or know need to be that you need to get, as far as like permits or getting permission for facility rentals from the school if you're at the school, like Barnesville with the alcohol. I know you said you go through the Knights of Columbus, different things like that. Like, what are some of those high point, the legality, the safety procedures, like Tanner touched on, that we should make everybody aware of that you need to, not necessarily specifically but just very high level, like what are some things that you've had to do with your organization to make sure that you're following all the legalities and the permitting and things like that?
I know I've learned that I need to start the gambling license soon, a few months before, and then we served the meal last year, so the Department of Health. Um, those were kind of the main ones for us for our event.
I know Lori talked about the permitting she's done for the raffle a little bit. And I can speak a little bit. Oh, go ahead, Lori.
You're exactly right. The process, no matter what size fundraiser you're having, sitting down with your committee of your alumni and supporters, and when we did the greenhouse fundraiser, of course, we had to sit down with the superintendent and the business manager and the maintenance people at the school, and just making sure you are touching on all those details, because of course the school has certain requirements of who can do certain things, whether it comes to plumbing or electricity and other infrastructure security things. With a simple fundraiser like a raffle, where it doesn't relate to building something later like our greenhouse, you still have that whole gambling permit thing. Yes, making sure you actually get the tickets printed properly, you actually inventory all those tickets and be able to do your reporting to the gambling board within your 30-day time frame, making sure you have a person or committee who's going to stick to those details so that you don't lose that valuable nonprofit status.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's a very good point. Anybody else want to touch on things that you need permission for or permitting or legality, safety, protocols?
Yeah, I guess another thing that I did forget was our insurance. So I think our first year we were, you know, scrambling last minute to make sure that we had insurance for coverage for the day of the event. So that's also number one on our list.
It's a very good reminder of that. Thank you for bringing that up. Anything else? Okay, real quick, just want to touch too before we move on to Heidi. Just that talk, a lot of you touched on gathering donations. If it sounds like the most successful is having the students involved, having your alumni doing things in person as much as possible, going to the places, going to the people, and maybe for volunteering. I guess let's touch on that just a little bit. A lot of you have mentioned about, you're using your alumni and supporters and your parents. How do you engage them? How do you successfully engage them in what you're doing?
I guess for us, we try to do a once a month meeting. And come November, December, up until the March event, that's our primary focus is that. And then we do a sign up genius, and that's how we've gotten the parents to help out and sign up. And just getting on the phone, sending a call or a text sometimes goes a little farther than those emails.
Anyone else?
One thing that we've added over the last couple of years, within the board, anyways, most of us on the Stevens County alumni, are rather young. None of us, I don't think any of us actually have kids that are in FFA at the moment. And so what we've done is added kind of like parents liaisons, if you want to call it that, or whatever. So we have one that represents from each chapter, and so they also attend our meetings. We just felt that it would be valuable to kind of have them be in the meeting, hear it. So that way, if parents have questions, whatever it may be, that they have someone that they can ask questions to.
That's great. And I know Pat, well, a lot of you actually touched on working with like other community organizations like the Knights of Columbus, and even more so than just getting those of you who are getting the sponsorships or raffles, but maybe those businesses around the community are actually helping you out with your events as well. So it sounds like those are all good things. Okay, well, let's move on. If you would be willing to give kind of a high level discussion about just things to keep in mind, ways to prepare throughout the year so that, things to keep track of so you're not scrambling and trying to find information or numbers at the end. And then once Heidi talks, we'll kind of open it up for some just discussion and questions that anybody has for any of our contributors and for Heidi today. Okay?
Sounds good. I wanted to touch base on two things that I heard when you guys were talking about fundraisers. Make sure you're keeping track of all your volunteer hours, including your adult hours. That is something that is a compliance thing, that if you do grow, you need to make sure that you have some sort of volunteer hours. It does ask you on the tax return if, you're 100% volunteers, usually you are. If you have a fundraising coordinator, if you pay somebody to help you with your fundraising, make sure you let your tax preparer know that. That is a huge, huge question on the tax return. Keeping track of your volunteers is two different questions on the tax return. It asks you how many volunteers. The other reason why you keep track of that is in the tax return, we ask for program services and fundraiser information. That's where you put in the information of you have so many volunteers that help you and stuff like that. So then the public knows, hey, this is what we did or how many people we had. And you can look at them from year to year because that's all public information. The other thing that I wanted to note too on fundraisers is any donated items. Make sure you're keeping track of those on a spreadsheet or something like that. So you know what your cost that was donated, your in-kind donations were. So you've got that on hand also. Those were the only things that I really thought of when I was listening to you guys with your fundraisers. I'm not sure what other things that you guys could run into, but always, if you have a problem, question, if you're unsure, anybody can reach out to me at any time. It's not a problem. I can research it. I can ask my network here in Minnesota. I've got extended networks outside of Minnesota for nonprofits. Just trying to help you guys be compliant. That's all I really want to help you guys do. I mean, it's a lot. It is a lot, especially with the Secretary of State. But I have a good relationship with Secretary of State and Attorney General's office. and a lot of valuable information. So some of the things that I did want to touch base on is the tax returns. You do file the 990N postcard for $50,000 or less, but there is a different but. The but is with the Minnesota Attorney General's office. You have to file what's called a charitable trust application or initial registration with them if you have $25,000 or more of assets. So you don't technically have to have gross receipts of 25. If you've got 50,000 or 20,000 in savings and you made $5,000, you have to file with the Minnesota Attorney General's office as a charitable trust. If you get to the threshold of 50,000, the 50,000 is when it converts over to the charitable registration. Charitable organization registration. And again, that's with the Attorney General. The Secretary of State, that's for your name and renewal and everything like that to keep that up to date.
Those are all good. And I saw Natasha also posted a link in the chat. So thank you for doing that because I was going to talk about that. Heidi's been really helpful. Heidi, Sue, and Natasha have been working to get that information updated on our website. So the compliance information and just how to keep your finances and your books in good order. So thank you for sharing that. Any questions specifically for Heidi?
Heidi, as you've seen a couple different organizations, when it comes to filing, when it's time to file, I should say, do you have any recommendations of how to, if I have an event in March, like how should I prepare all of the financial information so that when it comes to January or whenever, all of the information for each event is organized and simple to pull from?
What I suggest for like Tri-City United is to meet with me and we go over the packet of like, okay, this was your fundraiser. Okay, we need to know this, 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 and this. And I do pre-questions. Sue already knows this because I've done it with her a few times. But what I like to do is to ask the questions, and you can do a checklist. I have one of my nonprofits, they do a checklist for every fundraiser, put it on top of their packet of all their documents, and then put that in a file. So they know that, hey, this is how many volunteers, this is how much in gross receipts, in-kind donations, because there's a lot of steps with each fundraiser that you've got to keep track of. Sue, did I answer that? Okay.
Other questions?
I have a question.
Okay.
So one of our larger fundraisers is the traditional corn drive that everybody does. So is there more reporting besides, or more that we should keep track of than just the amount of money we get in? Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
I would, if that's your fundraiser, if that's one of your main fundraisers, then yes, you should be keeping track of your volunteers, your in-kind donations, your, because it's corn drive.
You're doing it through the alumni, or is the FFA chapter doing it?
Well, I guess the alumni keeps the money. We're managing all the money at our school.
And the
The
alumni.
students actually do the drive,
Okay.
which in Monticello, we have less farms than probably the rest of you.
That's a Heidi question.
So,
If the money's
it's
staying
more,
there, then
yeah. So we do, a lot of donations from businesses. We're at the $5,000, $4,000 level now. It's not huge, but
Okay, so I would just, if it's right around, just keep track of your numbers And make sure you're adding up and watching throughout the year on your gross receipts and your assets. Those are your main two things. Assets can be your savings account, it can be land, it can be buildings, any physical asset, fixed asset. It doesn't even have to be fixed. Anything over $2,000 also is considered equipment and stuff like that. That's also an asset.
Okay. Yeah, we're not to that point yet.
Oh,
We got no assets.
you'll get there.
Yeah. We always pray.
Okay, so are there other questions for either those who contributed today about any of their community involvement, their events, or other comments that any of you who did contribute would like to share that you've thought of or think is important to give to the group?
Thanks. I have a question for everyone. What is the expectation on the advisors for the events that you guys hold?
I guess for our event, we ask the advisors to manage the kids. So they need to make sure that when regarding bringing in animals, making sure the advisors are adhering to safety with that, and making sure that they're managing where the kids go to help out and volunteer. As a group, we decide how many we need where, but they are the ones that are going to move a child to a different location to help out, or um but we make sure we also tell our advisors that we're the ones that are going to be getting the donations. We're going to be helping with the raffle. They don't need to touch any of that. We're going to be helping with the advertising, the marketing. So they're really just in charge of the kids. We want them to feel like, they've put all this work into all these students, and we really want them to feel that relief of we're here for you, we're here to help, and we're here to show off this awesome organization to our town and to our community.
Thanks. Anyone else want to respond?
I think I maybe saw this earlier, but just like we have the the advisors kind of coordinate the students in regards to going out to the businesses and making sure that they're collecting the donations and stuff. And so we have like a shared Google Drive, so they're responsible for entering in all the products that they get from a donation perspective. So we kind of task the advisors or the students with that.
Because our role is always to try to help them, not create more work for them, right? So you're just having them do what they do well and hopefully sit back and put their feet up. Other questions or comments? If not, does anybody want to touch on how you allocate funds to either the chapter or what you do with some of those funds that you fundraise? How you spend, maybe even some parameters, like if you're doing scholarships, things like that. Does anybody want to touch on that?
I can hit on that too. We've been able to grow kind of what from where we've started anyways over the last, I would even say, since I've been on the board. And so it's been kind of fun to be able to see when we set our budget each year is like, we've been able to give out more and more from a scholarship perspective year over year anyways. And so even outside of the things that we already cover between covering for state, if kids may earn a trip to nationals, we're going to cover that. We'll cover camps. Trying to think of what else we're covering. Just to try and take everything off the chapters, or as much as we can off the chapters plate at the end of the day. Um, so those are probably the big things. So I think I want to say like this year we set it for probably like $8,000 to give out in scholarships, if not more. So that's been fun to be able to do that year over year.
Nice. Lori, did you want to comment? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I did if I could. We, our chapter, the local chapter is actually very, very involved in raising their own funds for state convention and national convention because they do the concession stand at the football games, and when students, members work, they get so many dollars that are committed, and the chapter has that funds. They do peach sales, they do other fundraising things, and the hours that they commit to those, then they're able to go to convention for a lot less. If there's some students, members that can't pay that, they can come to the alumni, and we will help facilitate that from our funds because that is, of course, part of our mission and vision. And otherwise, it is mainly for scholarships to be able to let the students know that we want to see them go on and then come back as members as well to our chapter. So we do not do a lot of raising money for the chapter, but we involve them in our fundraisers. You know, they spent many hours building on the greenhouse, for example. They spend many hours selling raffle tickets at certain events for the tractor raffles. We involve them in a lot of ways, doing a lot of things, and then announcing winners and things, and talking about the FFA when they do announce the winners. And but we're there to support and promote their activities, their fundraising as much as possible. And going back to what the advisors' expectations are, we do expect our advisors to be fully engaged in our fundraising, and we need them to track the costs of the tractors and those kinds of things when they're doing restorations. So, you know, and uniquely for a tractor raffle and a restored one in particular, they need to be involved immensely. And they are always, we have two ag teachers at Holdingford. So we tap them a lot on their tracking of things because I need that information as the treasurer to do that tax return, because we do hold a significant amount of the chapter's dollars in the alumni's name. As I heard some of you mention, that's what you do as well. The school has some because of our plant sale in the greenhouse. Those items are bought through the school, and then those plant sale dollars mainly go back to the school. So there's certain places, but the advisors are heavily involved in tracking of things so that all of the paperwork can be done properly for Attorney General and for IRS.
Those are good points. Thanks, Lori. Especially for those kinds of things, like you said, where they're doing the tractor repairs in class, in school, the plant sales, things like that. We got about 5 minutes. Other questions or things you guys would like to discuss, that burning questions or maybe things we haven't hit on that you'd like us to hit on?
Does an insurance question count for today?
Yeah.
Is that okay? I didn't know if that was too off topic or not. I've heard, Tanner explained a little bit and heard from some other people about getting insurance for specific events. Is there a threshold of a size of event or type of event? Or should the alumni and supporters have an insurance policy for year round for anytime we're out with the students? Does that make sense? I'm thinking of the corn, a corn drive, everybody does it the same, but you take the kids out of school and send them out with vehicles on their own. And I never thought about liability. I probably should have, but I guess that's my question, if that makes sense.
Does anybody want to speak to that?
I would try. This is Lori again. I always talk to my business manager at school to see what school coverage is. So be well versed in what's covered there and keep consulting with them. The other one is I consult with my own personal insurance person on things like we do a tractor drive. And so that when we drive to a farmer's location to have a lunch with them, we encourage that farm owner to have a big enough balloon, an umbrella policy, to cover something like that at their place, cover the risk. So it's going to depend on the risk, and I'm going to go and I'm going to talk to the experts in that field, and I'm going to talk to the school's business manager because they know what that policy covers at school.
That's good. Anybody else have
Thank
comments on that?
I guess just like for when we talked to the business office at school, because our event was off school grounds, run solely by the Hutchinson FFA chapter, we were liable for everything that day. So that's why we needed insurance for that one big event.
So it sounds like nobody really has a year-round policy for, I think we go volunteer at a corn maze and then they give us a donation. And that would probably be our responsibility as alumni and supporters because the donation goes to the alumni and supporters group.
Boy, Pete, you're bringing up some great questions now.
Yeah, and it's maybe one of those things I should not ask for permission. I should beg for forgiveness after the fact.
We are required at Cokato, that's the local chapter that I'm part of, as being considered, we're under the booster umbrella at our school. So we have to have a blanket liability insurance, and then we have errors and omissions for our board as well. And then we get special event insurance. That's kind of a one-off when we have bigger fundraisers, things like that. Because generally, anything that's a student sanctioned or a school sanctioned event, the students are generally covered under the school's liability. But like Shannon was talking about, when it's not on and it's not on school grounds or sanctioned by the school, and something that you're putting on, generally it's good just to have that blanket liability. I think it's AIM, it's AIM, is the insurance group that a lot of our booster groups go through. Very inexpensive, and that's one of the main things they do is for nonprofits and different organizations like that. So I'd encourage you to kind of look at that or talk to local insurance agents in your area. They've all been really helpful, because we work through like our State Farm agent for FFA. So definitely talk to them, and they should be pretty well versed because there's usually other nonprofit status that are in your community as well. So
I'll get right on that.
Any other questions or comments quick while we wrap up today? Or
This is
Sue or
Katie.
Natasha? Oh, go ahead, Katie.
Oh, I was just going to say the other thing to reach out to would be your farm bureaus and your farmers union.
Yeah.
So I have experience in farm bureau. They have blanket umbrella insurance policy. So depending on what kind of event you're doing, they can write you into their policy. So just check with your board of directors at your county level.
Yep, that's another good one.
I do want to quick say something. Anybody can reach out to me, email, text, anything, give me a phone call. I will look into it for you. Any questions you have, please don't think that they might be dumb questions because they could be important questions that you might need to know. Don't be afraid to ask, just ask them. And if you think you're asking too many, that's great. You want to know more about the compliance and making sure that you're staying in compliance.
We appreciate that and your willingness to help people out that way. Thank you. Anything else or any other comments? Sue or Natasha, did you want to add anything quick before we wrap up?
No, thank you so much for everyone for sharing. We know that fundraising and these topics everybody wants these. So I know people will watch the video. This will be online for everyone to watch too. So if you have other people that you know would benefit from this, it'll be on our webpage, that you can share it out. So if you haven't been on the webpage, mnffaalumni.org, lots of stuff there.
Yes, thank you all. It's appreciated.
A quick sneak peek, if I can speak ahead, our annual conference will be coming up in March 27. I believe we are hoping to have some more information to dive a little deeper into this as well and have some more information for you there. So a good reason to attend annual conference and get some more detailed information. But thank you all for taking time to be part of this today. We hope that you've gleaned some good information from it. Again, please, please, please go to our website. There's a lot of really, really good information. All of our contact information is there from our region directors and our our board. We're all more than willing to help you or find someone who can. So thank you for joining us today, and join us in August for our next lunch webinar. Have a good day, everybody.